In this video, I'm going to attempt to fix this sweater with needle felting. So let's get started. So I have this sweater and I love it, but the very first time I washed it, it got a hole in it. And I'm sure that was probably my bad because I probably had some jeans in there that I shouldn't have had when washing a, knit sweater. So there's a hole right here and I thought, how can I repair this? And of course my initial thought was just to try to stitch it back together in the back and call it a day and it would just be a plain sweater. But then I was like, this could be a much cuter sweater if I just did some needle felting on it. And in addition to the needle felting, we're also gonna wet felt it so that it really sticks in the sweater. Now, I will tell you, this isn't even a wool sweater. It's cotton, polyester, nylon, and spandex. But I definitely think that with needle felting it through the actual sweater and then wet felting it, that it's gonna be a pretty permanent situation. Originally, my thought had been to do mushrooms, but I'm feeling like because this hole is so close to the neckline that I should do something along the entire neckline. And then I realized that mushrooms maybe aren't the best idea for that just because, mushrooms have a bottom and a top. And I don't know that that would look, would that look cute? This is my problem. Okay, so let's pretend we're making mushrooms for a second. I probably should have had more of a plan, but this is one of those projects I've been putting off because I just felt like a little bit afraid to do it. And I'm like, I just need to sit down and do it. So I could do mushrooms all along the neckline. So that's one idea, is I could do little mushrooms all along the neckline. But another option would be some sort of leaf situation. This is the bin in which I keep all of my little ends of wool. So one thought I did have is, could I maybe a vine and leaf situation would be a better option. So if I did a vine, it could be a brown color, but I don't know how much this will really stand out. Or some of this, because I thought maybe this is too. Okay, I'm just gonna do some playing around and thinking right now. And then I'll meet you back here. My main concern is contrast. So this sweater is a medium color. So I'm concerned about putting a medium color on top of it and having that not really stand out. And that's something I'm trying to avoid. So I'm laying out different colors just to see how they feel on the sweater. So I'm gonna keep playing around with colors until I figure out the ones that I think will look best, and hopefully that will inspire me as to what exactly I'm going to needle felt on top of this. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do first is I'm actually gonna just needle felt a little leaf off of the sweater and set it on there and just see how I feel, because I feel like I need a little bit more narrowing down to commit to something. So I have kind of a leaf shape. This is pretty rudimentary, but I'm thinking about this hole. Here it is again. And I know I need to at least cover that. And I actually think that that looks pretty cute. It is more subtle, but it's cute. And you know that it's gotta be cute. So that's the first priority. I'm gonna go ahead and make a couple more leaves and then just see where we're at. I actually don't love the dark. I think lighter colors are definitely gonna look better on this sweater. And just for fun, I might try doing a mushroom. There's something about this pop of red that is intriguing to me on this sweater. So I'm gonna make a little mushroom, set it on there, and then hopefully I can make a decision very soon. Okay, this is obviously not a good mushroom. Just gonna say that now. This is just a quick little mushroom. I really like the mushroom, but I don't know how to tie that in with the sweater. The longer I look at this leaf, the less I like it. I really want this to be a cute sweater and not make me feel So my question is, would it look cute just to have a bunch of mushrooms along here? Do we like that idea? I just couldn't find an example of that on Pinterest or anywhere on the internet. So that's what concerns me about it, because I'm like, am I not able to find an example of this because it's not a good idea? That's what I'm concerned about. But I do really like the pop of the red and white on this sweater, which I didn't think would be a thing. I thought I would like something more subtle. My instincts are telling me that this is cuter. There's something about the really subtle colors that I'm actually not loving, which I thought I would. And maybe this is the issue. The sweater itself is already such a like muted color that maybe by putting other muted colors on it, it's just making it sort of feel like, does it feel drab? Whereas this little pop of something unexpected like bright red and white and little mushrooms, I think that that's what's calling my name. But I'm a little bit nervous because what if it doesn't look good at the end? My gut is telling me mushrooms, and I think I need to do mushrooms like the whole way across on the neckline. I think we need to just do it, and then if it's a mistake, you can learn from my mistakes. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take my felting pad, which is thoroughly full of other wool, but that's okay. And I'm gonna stick this inside of my sweater because I only obviously want a needle felt on one layer of the sweater. I'm gonna start with this mushroom since this one needs to go in a very specific spot. And what I wanna do, again, if this is kind of my example mushroom, I want them all to sort of be in line with like these lines. So they're kind of curving along the neckline as the neckline curves versus, you know, going straight like this, because I think that would look a little bit funny. So I'm gonna try to catch that hole sort of on the edge of the first mushroom and then just keep going along there. This is gonna take a while and I don't have the experience to know the best way to go about this. However, I think step one is just gonna be making a ball. That might be far too thick. And maybe it would be a good idea to actually still start the mushroom off of the sweater. Wow, I made a huge mess of that. Just so that I'm not needle felting excessively into the sweater. Let's just see here. I need to get a feel also for how much wool I need for each mushroom top. That's actually not bad. Okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm so nervous. Okay, already I feel like maybe that's not enough wool. And am I just gonna wreck the sweater? That's another possibility. Okay, I think I need to start my stem now because I kind of want the stem to be slightly underneath the mushroom. How do we do that? That I think is gonna be too big. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so you can see how the needle felting is causing the wool to get all the way through here, which is what I want because this sweater isn't wool itself. So I want that wool to come all the way through, and then when we wet felt it, it's really gonna solidify everything. You guys, the first mushroom is almost done. I love it. We've got the wool thoroughly through here. And now I'm gonna add the little, I don't even know what they're called, the spots. The little spots on the mushroom. So I'm gonna just take a little piece and roll it. Maybe I should have started the spots sooner, and that might be way too big. That is a pretty big spot. Okay, I'm gonna pull that out. All right, I'm gonna just put a bunch of spots on this mushroom and then make a whole bunch more mushrooms. Okay. This first mushroom is taking me so long, and I feel like it's a weird shape. And I'm not sure how to fix that now. What happened? What happened? Why are you like this? I keep kind of like making it a little bit bigger to try to get the shape right. It's like maybe one should practice not on their sweater before they needle felt on a sweater. Is this helping or hurting? That's gonna be the question. Also, I feel like the spots I put on are just like a little bit weird. Okay, I think that's a little better. Okay, moving on. Just a tip, if you are gonna do this on your own sweater, every once in a while when you're needle felting, you need to lift the piece off because it sort of starts getting felted into the needle felting pad. So that's what I'm doing. And so I'll needle felt a little bit and then pull it up and just make sure I'm doing that every so often. Okay, you guys, my mushrooms are growing. So you can see that this first one is like nice and small, and this one's bigger, and this one's even bigger. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, but there's not like a whole lot I can do now. I'm gonna try to keep making it smaller. I think as long as I make the stem the same size, that will be okay, hopefully. In any case, I'm just gonna keep going and we're gonna hope for the best here. Okay, you guys, I just wanted to give you an update on where I'm at. This is actually so cute. I feel like the angle of that stem isn't quite what I wanted, but I think this is really cute. Now I think what I need to do is the same thing on the other side. Okay, I am done. Ooh, what am I sitting on? I'm done needle felting the mushrooms and I am so pleased. I feel like this is way cuter than it was gonna be in my head. Like when I started it, I was very unsure. Now I'm loving it. So we need to move on to wet felting. Because this is a piece of clothing that's gonna be going through the wash and gonna be worn, I wanna make sure this felting is more permanent, and the way that we can do that is with wet felting. So basically all that wet felting is heat and agitation, and that's gonna be in the form of hot water and some bubble wrap and my hands. Now I have some scrap in here. So I'm just gonna actually stand up, and you guys are gonna see this in the top down. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and take off my watch. And I wanna work kind of fast just so my water doesn't get too cool. I brought a towel just in case I make a mess. And I have some olive oil soap. This brand is Kiss My Face. This soap is literally from when I was in college, which was, oh my gosh, like 12 years ago. It's a little bit old, so hopefully it'll still work okay. But what I wanna do, I'm gonna take this piece of bubble wrap and actually cut it in half. So I can have a piece on the inside and a piece on the outside. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm using this container to contain the water and everything. So I'm gonna take my soap, I'm gonna get it hot. This is kind of makeshift. This is not how I would normally do this, but it's been a while, so we're just gonna roll with it. I'm just gonna kind of get the soap a little bit soapy, and I'm just gonna start rubbing in to the felt. I really needed a sponge and I don't have one. Actually, I do have one. Let me get a sponge. Okay, I got a sponge. These things are so cool. Ready? Okay, this will make my life a lot easier. So I'm just gonna get all these areas that I felted wet, inside and out. There was probably a much more elegant way to do this, but like I said, It's been like a decade since I've done wet felting. Wet in here. Now we need a little bit of soap on my hands. Basically what the soap does is it just kind of makes it a lot easier to rub the felt, which is basically what wet felting is. All right, so now that I've started wet felting, I'm just gonna put my bubble wrap inside. Actually, I can just use one layer. And the soap really helps for this part too. It kind of just like oils up that plastic so you can actually rub it. So basically what the heat and agitation does, and it's really important that you're using actual wool for this, because this won't, wet felting doesn't work on a plant-based fiber. It needs to be wool because the follicles, basically the hairs of wool have little burrs and they kind of open up when there's heat added. And then when you agitate them, they fuse together, which is what creates felt. So I'm just agitating this, and basically the bubble wrap adds as a way to like agitate the wool. And I can feel now, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but I can feel the wool hardening up, which is exactly what we want, because we want to create a more permanent felt. And because we needle felted it all the way through, that's going to make this significantly more permanent. Like we won't be able to pull off these at all when I'm done. Okay, so now I'm kind of putting it at the very bottom of my bin here. I'm going to keep adding the warm water to it because again, we want it to stay, that heat just helps. And I'm literally just rubbing it. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's all I'm doing. And then I'm gonna like check on it, see how it's feeling. Okay, now let's work on the underside of it. Oh yeah, that's definitely getting nice and felted. Another thing that helps felt, again, I don't exactly remember why, is just kind of throwing it down. Okay, I'm gonna work on the other side a little bit. You can kind of start to see the difference. This one still seems a little bit like raised up, whereas this one is feeling and looking more permanent. Can you see the difference there? A little bit. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go wash this, let it dry, and we're gonna see where we're at. I've never needle felted into this type of material before, and it's cotton and acrylic and stuff. So it's a little bit different than if we were doing this into wool. Now, if you do needle felt into wool, you have to be a little bit more careful when you're doing a wet felting process because you risk felting your entire sweater, which is not ideal. I think it's felted enough. I think after a few wears, I'm gonna get a better idea of how permanent and how well this kind of holds up, but I'm gonna go wash this and let it dry, and then we're gonna see the final result. Okay, new day, same outfit. Last night I washed the sweater and I literally put it in the washing machine with other clothes that were similar colors, just on a delicate cycle, and then I sort of hung it over a towel on a towel bar to dry. So it wasn't like fully hung on a hanger or anything, but this may be a detail that's a little bit boring, but I do think it's helpful if you're gonna try this yourself. Now, if you can see here, the felt is a little bit fuzzy. Like there's just some little bits of, like, can you see how there's just a little bit of fuzz here. It just didn't fully felt. All I'm gonna do is trim the surface fuzzies a little bit so that it's a bit more cleaned up. And then I'm gonna show you this on. I am so excited to try this on. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna trim this up and then we'll have a look at it all finished. You guys, I just realized something that would work way better for this, a fabric shaver. This is a fabric shaver and it's literally for shaving like sweaters and things that get pilled. And I'll link the one that I have in the description box below, but this is a very basic fabric shaver. It just has some batteries. And then this part comes off. Oh, and it looks like I need to clean it out already. But basically it's just little blades and then this over top, and it just shaves the surface of fabrics. All right, I'm gonna try this and see if it works. I think that's working really well. So much faster. That actually worked so well, and it was so much faster than using scissors. So I could definitely say, if you're gonna do something like this, having a fabric shaver is a great idea. And these are not expensive. I believe this was like $20 Canadian. I don't know what that is in USD, but less than 20. I think we are finally ready for me to put this on, and I'm so excited. So let's do a fun little transition, shall we? Okay, let's have a look at the finished sweater. Oh my gosh, I am obsessed. This is so cute, and something I'm really pleasantly surprised about is the fact that I'm a person who generally cannot wear wool because I find it really itches me. And at least so far, this is totally fine. I'm sure it helps that it's merino, but as far as I can tell, I don't think it's feeling very itchy on me, which is so exciting because I was a little bit nervous about that. Of course, I could wear something underneath this if I need to, but I'm super excited if I don't have to. Needless to say, I feel like this was a huge success, and I literally want to do so much more of this, so let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see that as well. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this one next.